Hey, I was just thinking about this a lot, and yeah, I want to talk about moving over from Windows 10 to Linux and how that has been. And the short of it is, it's been very positive for me, really. I mean, there are a lot of problems. Most of them you can overcome or change your view of how you want things. Deal with it, basically, live with it. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. But overall, I yeah, I love it. Let me just say that at the start. I highly recommend it. Just, yeah, get off that corporate funnel, hellhole Windows, and get onto this. It's great. I mean, for the first weeks I had this, it felt like having a new computer and a really nice one that I owned myself. My system, just for context here, I'll give a bit of context. Also, maybe if you don't know me or who I am, so you can kind of judge a little bit how reliable this information is. I mean, this is a semi-informational and entertainment video, blah blah. So my system anyway is very old. It's from 2012. The hard drive and the graphics card have been changed a couple of times. It's i7 with 16 gigabytes memory. Yeah, so the GPU has been changed a couple of times. It's a GTX 1660 Ti now, which is, yeah, an old card as well. The hard drive I changed a couple of times. So sorry, let me just sort my voice for a sec. So yeah, I have to remember to talk at a normal. I seem to pitch my voice up as soon as I'm on the microphone, and then I get really that rotten sound in it. What was I saying? I changed the hard drive a couple of times. That's it. Before it had Windows 10, so I had to either, stay with that without patches, security updates. Although I'm in Europe, so I could get security updates, but I think I had to sign into my Microsoft account through the OS then. I didn't want to do that. Not as much. I'm not that concerned about my privacy or anything. I'm more somebody who's just tired of jumping through hoops for these cocksuckers. I don't know. I'm just done with that. So, and just fighting the OS. Like, I don't know. I haven't had to deal with, what's that AI thing called on Windows? Don't even mention it. Because I had Windows 10 and it wasn't on there, or I turned it off immediately and it was fine. I heard it's now also syncing your files to the cloud automatically and then automatically turn on BitLocker and all this crap. Nah. I thought it was a good time to try moving to Linux. So, as context about me, I've been in IT since 1996 as a software developer, well, as a trainee first. The first time I installed Linux was in around that same time, I'd say, and it was Slackware and had that, maybe the Dark Star prompt. I think it was around the time of the Matrix as well, so it was kind of like, in my 20s. I thought that was cool, black screen and green characters on it and all this crap. Yeah, so, but I didn't use that a lot. I used it a bit on and off and, played with it and all that. And later on, I managed Linux servers a couple of times, like for a big company. So yeah, I do know my way around a bit, but I'm by no means an expert, and I'm probably not even an intermediary. I just know sort of some basics. And a lot of it I had forgotten because it's been years since I'd done that. Now, about a year ago, I bought this laptop, a framework laptop, and I have Ubuntu on it. I have Ubuntu on it. But that didn't really require any sort of technical Linux knowledge, really. There was nothing. They had a nice page laid out how to install it, and it was just I followed that, and it worked perfectly. So yeah, so I'm not like I'm a beginner really, or I don't know that much. I do know my way about VI around VI or Vim a good bit. You know, I'm not afraid of the command prompt either. I mean, you know, in the beginning with PCs, we used DOS and stuff. And then, yeah, so there is a difference maybe there between you and me. I don't know. You might be know a lot more than I do. Yeah, VI is a text editor, and yeah, you kind of need that a lot on Linux to edit text files. There's probably another one on it like Nano, or I don't know what they have now. I never needed to use those because I know VI, luckily. Yeah, so but that's the difference that makes it easier for me. That's all I'm saying with that. I'm not trying to show off. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. So that's a bit the context of who I am. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, the first thing I say. So yeah, I decided to go with Debian. I want to go with Slackware first. I thought that might be pushing it because I want to use it as my main system, and I'm okay with some problems or difficulty, but not too much. I'm not saying that would have happened with Slackware, I don't know. But I don't think Slackware even uses systemd, which is a common initialization framework for Linux now. You used to have init scripts. I think Slackware still use that or has their own initializing script structure. I don't know. So I was like, maybe go with something a bit more standard. I know most of the popular distributions like Ubuntu, Mint, and all that are based on Debian. Plus, I think I remember seeing Richard Stallman, who's the founder of the GNU Not Unix Foundation. So basically the inventor, if you want to call it, probably, of open source license, or he's part of that anyway. I think he built the basic tools you find in Linux, like the compiler, the GCC compiler and all that, and a lot of the tools you find in bin and sbin, like ls, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, he's an important guy, probably knows what he's doing, and is very much anti-control by others. That's his main thing. That's why he came up with the whole open source thing, I think. I'm highly paraphrasing here. I don't know exactly. You'd have to look that up yourself. But anyway, I kind of trust him, and I think he said in the interview he uses Debian, or at that time he used Debian. So, and you can tell when you install it, because they don't install anything closed source. You have to really explicitly do that yourself. So that was also a little bit of a problem with the NVIDIA drivers and stuff. But I think... Anyway, I have Debian. Just flat Debian. I don't know why people use Ubuntu now that I have it, when you can just use this. Because Ubuntu to me feels that's a bit corporate already again. I mean, that makes it sound like I'm all anti-corporate, which I'm not. But it's just they're trying to control things again that aren't working against the user, I think. One thing, the software store, I hate that Snap store. I'll get into that later. Snap, I don't like it. Other things like that. So I'm on Debian anyway. So let me just turn this up. Oh yeah, and what I was going to say is, so one of the first problems I had was getting my screen to display in 1920 by 1080. I have a 1920 by 1200 monitor or display, and I always had it in 1920 1080 and then letterboxed, because that's handy for screen recording like this. But yeah, I couldn't quite get that to work on Linux. So that was one of the first things I had to get my head around, that it was going to be 1920 1200 from now on. I did that on Windows through the NVIDIA configurator or whatever. NVIDIA configuration. That thing, you right click on the icon in your taskbar, and then I could set it there, but here that's not available. So I'm kind of stuck with this, but it's actually turned kind of out for the best, because I can still record with OBS and a 1920 by 1080 section of the screen if I want. I just, for this video, I thought it'd be better to show my entire desktop, which I should kind of show. Turn this off, right? There's my OBS. So yeah, that's why this video is in an awkward ratio. So yeah, Debian. Well, first of all, I had to kind of get my head around the fact that you can't have, here, let me just show. This is desktop. You can't have icons on your desktop. So that pissed me off because I do all my work on the desktop. I have all my files. I use the desktop as my main workspace. I don't use the home folder because other programs put all kinds of stuff in there and you have no control over it. I like the desktop. I can have it exactly the way I want. The folders and files in there are all mine. I place them there. But yeah, on Debian you can't have files on your desktop unless you download well, it's not Debian actually. If you use a different windowing system, KDE or something, I'm using GNOME because that's the default. Yeah, I'm big on sticking to defaults, but I'll get into that maybe later a bit more. But so yeah, for GNOME you can download plugins, but they're not officially supported by GNOME. And you go to some other website, GNOME plugins, I'm sure it's trustworthy. It's just that if GNOME brings out a fix to some part of their windowing system, then the plugins might break. And they do break, because if you read the comments under the plugins, and there's not that many available either, but you can see people have problems with it. So instead of me depending on some plugin like that to just to have icons on my desktop, I just decided to see how I feel to live without it. And now I've been doing this for like a month or more, or maybe 5-6 weeks I've had Linux installed now. I don't miss it at all. I don't mind. I just have here in my file Explorer, my desktop here, and I can see the files, my files there, you know, my whole workspace. So I don't care actually about that anymore at all. And it was similar for other things, like for example, as you notice, there's no taskbar here, so you can't just go go back to my Explorer, Firefox or whatever, and my Notepad or my other application, which in the beginning pissed me off as well. But in Debian you have this thing here, and I thought in the beginning you had to click it. You go into this view and you see like a sort of a taskbar. It's called the dash. With you can place these on it with applications you've pinned that you regularly use. It shows with a little dot here. I don't know if you can see that, which ones you have open somewhere. Yeah, what I was going to say about this, but the nice thing is you don't have to click this like this. Like after a day or two I found out I can just push my mouse in the corner like this. Now that seems like, see, I thought this was very fast for me, going down in Windows on the taskbar, clicking something. I thought this was cumbersome. But actually, once you get used to this is very quick movement. It's now, and then immediately I'm in this workspace overview. See, I can scroll through my different desktops, something I never used. I know Windows has it as well, some form or another. But I never used it there. Here, it's wonderful. Maybe on Windows too, I don't know, but it's just my mouse, I'm rolling through it, and up here I see my 4 work environments or my four desktops, and I can kind of, organize everything by what I'm doing. This is just where I'm browsing, and my Steam open. I'm working on Taxinaut here, and this is where I'm recording OBS, and here I'm just showing you an empty desktop. That's all. Yeah, I love this. I'm completely on board with this workflow. See, that was kind of my frame of mind. I'm just gonna first try to see what GNOME or how GNOME wants you to do it and see whether that actually makes sense. And I must say, and now I've kind of, followed that after a week already. No, after a couple of days, I was like, yeah, no, this is actually nice. So, and that's the whole thing when you're moving over. Like I saw that a guy in another video saying that there's all kinds of little glitches and things you do on Windows that you don't even notice anymore that you've accepted, but that might not have been initially what you liked as your workflow. But now you don't notice them because you just automatically do it. Like, that you have that right click in between files in File Explorer. If you want the right context menu, You don't want the file context menu, but something else, you know, right? If you want to do a new folder, it's those kind of awkward things in Windows. There's the same stuff in Linux. Well, it's different stuff. That's the whole thing. You move over to a new system, and everything seems odd and out of place and cumbersome. But once your mind kind of adjusts to it, it's actually just as fluid. You skip over all these little things. So yeah, that's like kind of advice maybe. I want to impart. You probably are the same as me. You know, it's easier to, you know, your brain is the best. Well, most people's brains are the best hardware they got. It's easier to change that than to change some computer. You know, you can start with all kinds of scripts and plugins to make it work the way it was working in Windows. But I think give it a try for a while and change yourself. It's probably easier. A lot easier, and it might even be better. I thought it was better. I love this now. If I don't have this now, it pisses me off. So it's now the other way around. The fucking taskbar always sucks. Although, that said, GNOME has this thing here at the top, which you can't readily get rid of. It's even an issue with applications unless they're full screen. If you do a borderless window, a game, then this can sometimes be in front of it. So that is a fucker as well. Like, I haven't actually had that issue with games except Taxinaut. But Taxinaut, so that might be my fault. I don't know how to change it, but Taxinaut runs in 1920, 1080, so for me it's like right, you know, this doesn't come over it because there's enough vertical space. I can show it actually. Let's go to my Steam. Or on the Steam one. I mean, this is all my game. I'm running this in. I was looking up how can I turn off my so my Steam user isn't shown for screen recording, right? I like to keep that to myself. I'm sure you understand. You can see what games I have. I don't care about that. I just don't want my username displayed there. So yeah, Taxinaut at favorites. Anyway, let's run that. Oh yeah, what I was going to say was, is it running? I don't know now. What you doing? Do I need to right click play it? Anyway, what I was going to say was, I have this in little small view. You can change that here if you want screen recording and not show your username. I don't see it here, I guess because I'm in small view already, but large mode is the normal mode. I can switch back to that here. But if you're looking for that, you know, you're doing screen recording, you don't want to show your username on Steam, yeah, you can put it in small view, I think. I mean, I don't see my username anywhere here. It might pop up somewhere. Right, do I? Let me just check the recording right. Yeah. Let's see now. So what I mean by this play. Yes. Running. Yeah, I have a regular hard drive, so this takes a while. I know people aren't used to that anymore, probably. All have SSDs. I don't. I was going to change it for an SSD when I went to Debian, but I had hard drives lying around. Oh, I didn't even get into that bit. Like how I installed Debian and all that. Anyway, let's do this first. As you can see, you see the title bar there still at the top, the GNOME with the time and all this. But yeah, for Taxinaut on my screen, it doesn't matter. I don't exactly know what happens on other people's. You can set it to full screen anyway, and it will cover it. For sure then, but yeah. I don't know, that's a thing. Anyway, I'll get more into that later, actually, all the problems like that. But let's get back to, yeah, how I installed it, actually, which I also kind of recommend. I don't know. You probably know better than I do, but if you don't, I just took my Windows drive out of my computer. You know, it's just a caddy thing I have, and just take the hard drive out, and that's now in a drawer somewhere. So if I want to go back, I just take the, I put a Debian drive in instead of the Windows drive in there. I just take the Debian drive out, I put the Windows drive in, and I can be back on Windows if I wasn't happy with Debian. And nothing has been touched on that Windows drive. See, that I think is the nice part of it. And Windows hasn't touched the Debian drive either. Because that's the main thing. People might say, yeah, you can dual boot. Yeah, but that can cause problems too. Like Windows can fuck with your bootloader or your, your boot partition or whatever. Apparently. I haven't had that experience though. I've had dual boot and never had that happen, I think. Or maybe I did have that happen once. Anyway, I like the idea of this complete separation. Now it's simply not possible. The Windows isn't anywhere on the computer now. There's just a Debian drive in there, and if I would put the Windows drive back, it wouldn't know any better than that it had always been in there, and there was no Debian ever on there. So I think that's a good way to go. I had hard drives lying around anyway, so I used one. But yeah, I was initially thinking to buy an SATA SSD, put that in there. So it would have been fast. So that's why it's slow. I'm still on an old regular hard drive, 1 terabyte, whatever. It works. So what else? Let me think, what was I gonna say? So there's, yeah, a lot of little problems. Little things that you can get over. Normally, up until now, I have been able to either deal with it or fix it the way I want. Steam is a bit of an issue. Maybe we should talk about the NVIDIA drivers. That was a bit of a deal to get installed, but that was my fault. Yeah, let me say another thing first. What I did was, so I put an empty drive in there, or whatever, a drive I could write over, and install Debian on it. And then my idea was, I'll just try to make it exactly like I want it, and probably end up messing up my system. But I'll know more then of what's possible and what not and what's awkward, and then I'll install it properly. So I kind of recommend you do the same. The first time you go into it, you install it, you're probably gonna maybe mess it up a bit, or you tried something and it kind of half deinstalled, or I don't know, and you're wondering like, is my system still normal, or have I broken something that will bite me in the ass later? So I recommend you kind of treat the first install as a test install, and then play with it for a couple of days and see where the problems lie. Then reinstall Debian and do it again. Or just be of the mindset that you're probably gonna end up doing that anyway, right? Normally I probably would have gone in, installed it, and thinking I install and that's the end of it, and I won't have to install it again. But just be aware, you'll probably end up after a couple of days doing a reinstall. That just helps, because if you're moving stuff over and doing a lot of effort in setting everything up exactly the way you want it, then having to reinstall, having to do it all again, if you know you're going to do it again, it makes a difference. Let me just check my voice out for a second again, or try to make it better. One moment. So the NVIDIA driver install, that's just something I did wrong. It was very clearly laid out how to do it on the Debian website or the wiki. It's just very big, the page, so I kind of skimmed over it the first time. I messed something up a little bit, or I wasn't sure I'd done it right and I wanted it to be right, so I redid it. Other than that, it wasn't really a problem. You can also get a deb package like from, so I don't know if I mentioned this, in case you don't know, Debian, you have Ubuntu and Mint OS and other ones, they're all based on Debian. I went with Debian because I think Ubuntu is already getting a bit controlling. Like they want to control the user, they have Snap software system on there and all that. I prefer Debian. So that's why I got Debian. But anyway, so for NVIDIA, you can get a deb package, which is an installer for Debian-based OSs from their website. But the thing with that is, the distribution you're on might have their own kind of way of installing NVIDIA drivers, or their own version of NVIDIA drivers that work with the kernel that they recommend. And it's the same for Debian Trixie. That's what I'm on. So I went with the way what they recommend, but you can install an NVIDIA driver from the NVIDIA website, and you'll get a more up-to-date version as well. But I think you probably have to, and it'll do that automatically, I think, but it will recompile your, compile a new kernel, so it will download new kernel files, header files and shit. And you'll run with a different kernel than your distribution runs with out of the box. I prefer to keep things out of the box, kind of, because I think you get the least problems, or if you get problems, they will be known, or it can be awkward. You change some little thing somewhere, and in a completely different area, like your game is now stuttering or low frame rate. What did that? It can be very hard to trace what the reason for that is. And it might be some setting you set somewhere half a year ago because you read on Stack Exchange, some guy said, yeah, go into your grub bootloader and add this fucking parameter to it, right? So my recommendation is go back to the source or to the website for your distribution and see what they have there on how to do it, and try to stick to that as much as you can, or as much as you can make yourself. If that means that some game doesn't play on your system, whereas if you downloaded the latest NVIDIA drive from NVIDIA itself, it will play. You have to make that decision. I decide I won't play the game then, maybe, depending. Yeah, so I tend to stick on the side of stick with what the distribution people tell you to do, and don't just take the first advice you see online. Like, look at the source, where it's coming from, or a lot of it is old as well. I was gonna get into this later, but let's get into it now. Yeah, that's a problem with anything, I suppose, but getting information about Linux, there's a lot out there online, but a lot of it is antiquated, or doesn't apply to your distribution, or is just plain wrong because people don't exactly know what they're talking about. They're just parroting something they've seen somewhere else. Well, all information in the end is copying, isn't it, in a way? But you have to look at the source where you got it. And go back to the documentation for your distribution. Often it's actually, on Debian I found it is there. You just sometimes have to search for it a bit more. Or it's not as easy as, it's not the first thing that comes up when you type your question or your issue in Google. I found the AI kind of helpful as well, I must say. So often it's just dead wrong or completely, but yeah, for just the first thing to look like, oh, it might be that, and then to search further yourself among the search entries to confirm what the AI has said is kind of helpful. Anyway, always the same. NVIDIA drivers, yeah. So that can be a bit of an issue. Apparently AMD works better for Linux. I don't know. I have NVIDIA. Then there's the thing with the display server. So on Linux, for decades, I think they used Xorg, which is the main, piece of code that draws windows on your system, or kind of underlies the windowing system. That makes it so you can have anything on your screen, I think. It's called the display server, so I don't know, I'm not that technical. But there was Xorg. Now, because Xorg apparently is very hard to maintain and misses things, or makes it hard to make things for Vulkan, I think, happen on there, or I don't know exactly. But the people that work on this have built a new one called Wayland. That should be better. But this still has a lot of problems with a lot of games and stuff not running properly on there. Well, for example, Taxinaut had problem. That was a big problem in the beginning. If I'm running Wayland display server, Taxinaut won't start when in OpenGL mode, and if in normal mode, it runs stuttery. It doesn't run well. It doesn't do that on my laptop, by the way. Did I mention this? I have a framework laptop with Ubuntu on it, and there it's just fine, and that runs Wayland. but that doesn't have an NVIDIA card in it. So I think that has a Intel Core Ultra, which I highly recommend for laptops, by the way. Great chip, because you don't need the bulky GPU and you can play most games on it. It generates a lot less heat and it takes a lot less power. They're really good chips. I know a lot of people aren't positive about it because it's not a chip in your big desktop system with a separate GPU. You know, you want the powerful. It's not really probably quite that, but for in a laptop where you want it to be light and still be so I don't need a GPU. I can run like Skyrim and stuff on it normally on my laptop without a dedicated separate bulky heat creating power sucking GPU also in my laptop. I have another laptop with that in it, has a RTX 3070 or something in it, and that thing weighs a ton and generates a lot more heat, and I'd say it's sucking a lot more power as well. Anyway, Jesus, where was I? Yeah, the display server. So I've switched mine to Xorg, and it took me a while to figure out how. So just to illustrate how it is on the internet, at first when I look for that, how do I switch Debian to Xorg? There was all kinds of like, you know, adding parameters to the bootloader or whatever, or changing this here and there. But it turned out there's very simple. If I log out, I can't show it I think here in OBS, but if I log out and on the login screen, if I click the username and that entry field for your password comes up, in the bottom right for me here is a little cogwheel or something, and I clicked it and I can switch between Wayland and Xorg very easily. And it remembers the last, when you reboot, it still remembers what you were last had set, so it's no problem there. They are going to take that out though in Debian. It's gonna when the newer version comes. I'm on Trixie here, but I think but that might take a few years. But when a new one comes out, I think that option is going to be gone. So I don't know, but maybe Wayland at that time will work with more things. There's other games. It wasn't just Taxinaut. I forget the names, but there were other games that had problems running in Wayland. Although, as I said, not on my laptop, but with an NVIDIA card, I guess. I don't know how AMD does. I don't have one. So that's something. Display server. What other problems? Well, I don't know if I said this already, but there's loads of little niggly things, you know, like the glitches you're used to on Windows and just flow over because you kind of preempt them. You already know in your mind, I have to do it this way, and you just do that without thinking. That's gonna be different here, and you're gonna have to get used to it. Like some things are just like this is nice. I can just pin application, so I can look for an application here, let's say Vim, right? And then I can, I have NeoVim installed, it seems, or maybe that means, that's weird. Okay, can I not? Can I do it like this? What? See, I'm not a big fan of this thing here, I must say. I do have Vim, because I go, right? Vim? Yeah. So I don't know why here it's going NeoVim, which is something different. Okay, that's an X4. I've then installed. I already have the icon there, but my point is, anyway, you can right click it and and now I can unpin it because it's already pinned. But you can pin it there, right? Or you can do that with other applications that you find. I've basically everything pinned that I use. I mean, as a side, for me it was maybe easier than for others to move over because I was already using exclusively nearly all kinds of free software. What you see here in the taskbar is basically everything I use and have used for years. So like Firefox, Eclipse for my development, GNU, GIMP, Inkscape. Why is it? Oh, that's what GIMP means. GNU Image Manipulation Program, right? Anyway, Inkscape, LMS. I made all the music tracks for Taxinaut with that. This is for sound effects. Audacity as well. OBS Studio, VLC, media player for watching movies and playing music and shit. Steam. That's basically all I use. So for me, there was already not much of a problem moving over, I must say. But the thing with the icons, anyway, this is called the dash. It's not as easy as in Windows. You don't just find the application, right-click properties, or create shortcut and then put it wherever you want, or drag it into your menu. Although that was getting a bit odd as well at the end, I think. Here it's kind of, you have to edit some fucking file and then give it the name of the icon and what application it should run. It's all that kind of sucks. That should just be very straightforward, but it isn't. Like here, I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. Like in that local, you see I'm always going on the share applications. Do you see these files? That Pathfinder Kingmaker, I made those. I put those there so that I have or that might have actually have been the install that did it. But that Firefox one, for example, this one, I made that and I made it purple so I can start a private session Firefox more easily, right? So I put that file in here, Firefox ESR private desktop, and that PNG file. It wasn't just a matter of right-clicking the Firefox binary or something. And that file here via Firefox ESR private desktop. I'm just showing you, you have to edit this fucking thing. I mean, I'm a software developer. I'm not really that chuffed by it. It's still annoying though. It doesn't make a difference because I have to, like you, I have to learn what this shit means. And where do I get the information of what this means? Where did I even find to do it this way? I found that somewhere online. Forget where. How do I know? Maybe this isn't even the way to do it. You don't know. It doesn't come. A lot of things are not documented and are just scraps of information. Somebody telling you somewhere on the internet. It's not great like that. So, yeah, that's an issue with this. Although maybe in a way on Windows it's like that too. But I found that getting applications on my taskbar was easy. Usually it is easy. I'm making it a bit harder than it is because any of these applications here would show up in here. If I type them here, like I type G, you see I get applications that have a G in it, I guess. Although my terminal, I see no G, but I don't know. All kinds of stuff comes up and you can click and pin it. Well, that's already pinned, but you can pin it from there. And obviously it's limited as well. That's another thing I've been looking for and haven't found. Like, what, can I have a grouping or something? Or, but I'll just deal with it the way it is, and this is basically all I use anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are on the command line as well, and I kind of prefer command line things. Like I used to rip my CDs with, I put all my CDs on a hard drive. I just think that's easier, and my DVDs too. I have one big hard drive with everything on it. But to rip them off there, I used to use Fubar. Is a music player that can also rip CDs. But now I use some terminal program, which ABCDE it's called, which works just as well. So, but there's nothing for it here on the. Apparently you can do it with VLC. I tried, it was a bit odd or something. I don't quite remember, but I didn't like it. The terminal one was better. Nice thing with terminal programs is you can put them in scripts. If you're interested in writing bash scripts. I kind of am. I have bash scripts for Taxinaut build and things. So that's handy. Yeah, so anyway, it's not as clear or easy as on Windows to add. Sometimes it isn't. Like, which one did I have to make myself then? Maybe I'm just making it harder than it is. Because most of this, it's just right-click pin. But like this one, I don't think that one showed up first. Like if you type here, right, you need one of those desktop files that I just showed you. This, well, you can see it up here maybe, I hope. Sorry, I don't know at the moment how to set the font size on this, and I don't want to change it because I'm happy. What else you could see it. Okay, let's have a look. Preferences. General. I have to make some fucking profile or something. Initial terminal size, text. Colors. Oh yeah, custom font. Oh, you have to say custom font. Monospace. So let's remember it was on 12. 18. Yeah. That's better. Right. So here, where is it? Did I put it here? GOG.com X4 Foundation one. I think I made that one. So I just copied one from some other application and then set it all to the X4 one. And else, here if I typed X4, that wouldn't show up. I think. There was some application I had to do that for. I think it was this X4 on GOG. That had a big... did I tell this already? That had a problem as well. And really odd. It doesn't start from the GOG starts script. I didn't even know that existed. But I couldn't get the start for ages. And I was just kind of had lost hope that it would start ever. And I was just kind of scrolling through the Linux support forum on the EgoSoft website. And my eye kind of caught this thing, X4-log is true or something like that. I was like, oh, is it like that? Then I couldn't find the X4 binary because it's not in the top level directory of the GOG install. I didn't know how GOG installs work, but there's like a folder inside the folder called game, and then in there is the actual game, and there it had the X4 binary anyway. Well, once I did that X4-log on the terminal, it would just run normally. It runs fine. But I think I had to then also make, sorry, I just hit the microphone, had to make a shortcut for it myself. So the point is I had to make this file here, Firefox ESR, or sorry, no, GOG.com X4 Foundation on desktop, and fill that all out. Oh, as you can see, it's a lot shorter than the other one. So yeah, I did do this one myself. If I hadn't done that, if you don't do it doesn't show up here when you type X4, so you can't pin it to your dash. Right, shit like that. It's just kind of, whereas in Windows I just go to Steam apps or whatever. I could just right click the binary and you can all see the icon on there already, which is another thing. I don't think you can see that here. If I go, just so you see a bit what this is like. No, not Steam. Where's GOG again? Do you see GOG? GOG games. And it's not X4 Foundations. You see here, you get like a top level directory. I thought, because I don't know how I figured out it was start.sh. Maybe I did have the icon already. Anyway, I couldn't see X4. I don't see an X4 binary called X4 here. So I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, it's in here. This is the actual game. But my point is, if you go there, see, that doesn't have that logo that you see, or that you see here, right? That thing. So I can't right click. I can't pin it either. You can't pin this. Whereas in Windows, you probably would have seen here the icon already with the X4 binary. You just right click, create shortcut, done. So that's this is just to illustrate. It's not the only thing, but how things can be on Linux, right? I know this sounds like a bit nitpicky, but I'm just trying to show what kind of things you will encounter that are kind of a bit annoying, or you have to spend more time on than you would like, and you're like, why didn't they fucking ever make that more easy? Because the thing about it is with Linux, everybody goes like, oh, you can make the system exactly as you want, and it's all configured. Yeah, it is, I'd say. I mean, the entire source code probably is open source, so you can do anything you want with it. But it's not necessarily easy or even doable for a normal person, right? There is that. So yeah. So what else can I say about it? So I'm getting more into things that are not good about it, so you can have some awareness of, can make up your mind. I would definitely recommend you go over or at least try it for a couple of weeks though, and just try the default system, whatever you choose, Ubuntu, Arch, Linux, I don't know. Definitely worth it. Seems like a completely new computer, and I love my computer again. I really didn't for a while. It was kind of depressing me with that Windows. Windows 11 is especially on my laptop. Ugh. I hate going into that thing. Just the way it looks with that blue or whatever that is. No, don't like it. It's like on being a LinkedIn website or something. Ugh. Horrible. Anyway, another thing with it is, Steam is a whole deal. Did I talk about this already? See, I did a recording of this before, and you know what I did again? Forgot to turn off my stupid trying to fop off taxi not on your screen, this thing. Here, leave it off. So, not, it only had my voice and that screen. Anyway, Steam is a whole deal. And that's partly Steam's fault in my opinion. They're not, you think they're very pro Linux, but they're not really that supportive of. It's when you use Proton, yes, or the Steam OS. That's what they're interested in, but not so much outside that. Like a lot of games don't, or some games, no, I shouldn't say a lot, I don't know. I have no idea about numbers. But of the few games I play or tried, half of them don't, and that are native to Linux, because I've been especially playing games native to Linux. Some of them don't start. Because what I didn't realize is, when you look up like, Steam game don't start on Linux, everybody starts fucking talking about Proton. But native Linux games don't need to run on Proton, and probably running it on Proton, is an extra, it would be less performant, no? Am I crazy? So you should just be able to run it normally on Linux, and you can. If you run these applications not through Steam, so you have installed them through Steam, and you just close Steam and go to the directories, find the binary you need to run, right? And run it from the terminal, they run fine, right? And this is both on this system, so the i7 desktop here, the old one, and my framework laptop with Ubuntu on it, has the same behavior. So if I try to run, for example, here I'm in kind of a Pathfinder kick at the moment. Geez, what a frustrating game that is, but I like it anyway, I think. I'm not sure. It's a love-hate relationship. Anyway, if I play this, look. Although you probably see it will run fine now immediately. Nah, it's hanging. I have the cursor. So you might conclude, oh, Pathfinder doesn't work on Linux, right? Let me get out of this. Stop. Yeah, you stop it. This is great about Linux, by the way. You know how on Windows still, sometimes when you kill processes or do something weird with the game and that your whole fucking system hangs and you can't come back to your desktop or even get your task manager up to kill the process. You know that shit? That has never happened here yet on my Linux system. I'm not doing it now because I did it wrong the other time, but you can even switch to a console complete terminal, like not the desktop. You switch to just a plain terminal, so not just this thing, right? But the whole screen will be just the desktop system won't be. It'll still be running in the background, but you won't be interfacing with your computer through it. So if that part has crashed, you can still often go to the terminal. Anyway, I'm not explaining it right. It's TTY or whatever. You can look it up. But as you can see, that didn't run. But if I try this a couple of times, sometimes tense and stuff, it will all of a sudden run. So it's something weird with Steam starting Linux games that isn't working properly. So on Proton it's fine. I run Skyrim on here and I tried some other thing. Forget. Oh, this is also Linux, but runs fine. Was it Linux native? No, I'm running that through Proton. So things you run through Proton that are meant to run through Proton run, basically. Well, like I have, what's that thing called? Sort of like Stellaris runs perfectly because that's for native to Linux. That didn't have a problem at all. On my laptop I don't have this problem, by the way. No, I do, but not for Stellaris. No, it's on both systems, for Pathfinder Kingmaker and for Dominions, for example. And there's some other game, I can't think of the name now, that I tried, had the same problem. Dominions as well. I have to start it sometimes 10 times and then all of a sudden it starts. It's weird. While as if I start it directly from the command prompt, it runs immediately. Yeah, let's try again. Just to show you, maybe you can see that it does start. And once it starts, it runs fine. No, this one crashed. See, it's different every time. Weird. It's some kind of thread thing, I guess, because it's like if one process starts before the other, it's a problem. Or something. I don't know. But that's on both on different systems. And for some applications. And only if you run it, natively, because that's another thing people, and I didn't get either. If you run a native Linux game through Steam, you're not running it just on your system, you're running it still on the Steam runtime, like always. See, that's the whole thing with Steam that's kind of pissing me off. Here, Steam Linux Runtime Scout, and a lot of people go, oh yeah, you pick another Proton, but no, it's not Proton first of all, because it's Linux native. And second, well, no, it doesn't run native, it runs through this. And I understand why they did it, because, people on different Linux systems have different libraries installed or whatever, and they want, of course, that it runs out of the box, so they want to provide the same stable Linux system, so it always runs. But the point is, it doesn't always run. But that's not, these games run all fine, but not through the Steam Linux runtime or whatever is called. Maybe that's not what's causing it. Maybe it's just something with the Steam client. I don't know. You can pick a different version as well. I'm not touching this now because fuck that. But that's the thing you have to be aware of. Yeah, Dominion, same thing here. Let me try one more time. I just want you to show that it does finally run, which makes it more annoying. Nope. One more time. Nah, this time I'm not lucky. I can take like 10, 15 times doing this. And I want to run it like this because of cloud saves, right? If I run it natively, so without Steam, and then start the Steam version. Well, first of all, if I run it without Steam and I, play some, make some saves, get out of the game, nothing is updated, and the cloud isn't updated. Then when I run the Steam version, I think it erases your old saves, syncs with what was in the cloud for Steam, so you lose your fucking saves. I think. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Am I? I don't know, you tell me. But I don't think you can depend on the cloud saves then. And it will still have to run sometime through Steam, I think. So that's why I want to run it through Steam. Let me see if I can find. But just to show that I'm not bullshitting here. You can skip ahead, of course. Or stop watching. Look how I'm doing this. Documents, pictures, procs. Where do I have this? Say it's in .steam. cd.steam / steam / Steam apps. Common. So that's sort of the same as in Windows. There it is, Pathfinder Kingmaker. think it's just that one, kingmaker.exe. Right, so I'm now running from the terminal. Here, see? Hope you're seeing this. It's fine. Okay, let me just get to the... Sometimes it crashes here, but once you're in... It did that anyway. It did that on Windows as well. I don't know. Just fucking annoying. Why can't I skip this menu animation? It drives me nuts. If you have to restart constantly and... Exit. Goodbye, friends. See you tonight. I'll probably be getting very frustrated. I'm trying to kill the Stag Lord. I had it nearly yesterday, if you know what that... as API fields, Steam API, no API file. Anyway, so as you can see, it runs immediately, just not running it through Steam, no problem. Weird that it can't find Steam actually, because if I run Taxinaut from the terminal while Steam is open, it will automatically know, sorry, Steam is open, and the Steam API will load or initialize itself, and it will just be like Steam. You want to see it? Let's see here. Let's just show it. Where is it? Taxinaut. So I guess I have the Steam version here. I don't know my own application. Taxinaut, Taxi Linux Steam.sh. Oh, okay, yeah, I can click this. Okay, it has to load it. And this, see, I can skip that menu animation. See how nice that is of me? People don't appreciate that shit. So if I go to Taxinaut now. Oh. Uh-oh, I'm wrong. Huh. That on Windows it does, because I use that all the time. I use it actually when I'm developing as well, when I'm running it from a development environment. Okay. Moscrom doesn't know what he's talking about, apparently. Thought it did. I have seen that. When I run Steam from my development environments, and not, or Taxinaut, then in Steam, if I go to Steam, here it would say that Taxinaut is playing. And it would do the cloud save as well and all this. Right? I think so. I can use the controller support that Steam provides anyway, without running through Steam. Whatever. Okay, enough of that now. But the point is, native Linux games sometimes have problems running, weirdly enough, through Steam on Linux. Whereas the Proton games kinda seem to work. If they are, you know, if they're known to work. Although there's some problems there too, but that's with the games themselves, I think. Like, what's one I wanted to talk about? Some space strategy game, a big one. It's sort of like Stellaris, but it was before Stellaris. What's the... No. Distant World, Distant World. I don't know why my memory is so bad when I'm on the microphone. It's something about that I'm more tense when I'm talking on a video. And I immediately lose 50% of my intelligence. Distant, and I don't have a lot to start with. Distant Worlds Universe here. No, that's the old one. This one. Yeah, that doesn't work either. Well, I haven't got it installed because it doesn't work on the Proton, but on the Proton database it says it does, I think. Right? Okay, I'm getting really sidetracked now, but sure, whatever. You're having fun, right? I am. Sort of. What is it called? Now I forgot again. Distant Worlds. Distant World 2. Here, well, Silver. Okay. Tried multiple tunes. Oh, okay. Would not even start. Yeah, exactly. See, that pissed me off. I want to play that game. Come on, people. I think it's made in C#, so it's kind of like a problem already. I know you have Mono, or what do you have now on Linux to run C# shit? .NET shit? I don't know. But, right. That doesn't work. Fix it. So there is things that don't work that you would like to have work. Oh, shouldn't really show my email, but what else was I gonna say? What else kind of problems can I show you that you will encounter? I had no problems with my network at all. Whereas before, Wi-Fi adapters can be a fucker on Linux. I know that just from previous experience. Although maybe now not so much anymore, but there were a couple of ones that were very common and there were no drivers for it. So you would have no network. So that may be something when you buy a Wi-Fi adapter or whatever to look for, that it has a supported chip. I forget the website, but you can check whether drivers exist for. And often the Wi-Fi adapter itself will say it somewhere in the description. This is nice, of course. I like this. All the things you want to commonly do in one. Like, you know, volume. Blah, 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 blah. Let me just pause the video for a sec and I'll think about if I have anything else to say that might be of any interest to anybody but myself at all. And then I'll be back. So, another thing I thought of to do with Steam was I don't know if I did this already, because as I said before, I did a video before this and completely didn't record the screen. So I said it in that one, I think. Else is going to be mentioned twice, but yeah, the installation of Steam on Linux was also a bit of an issue, because if you install it through Snap, just something on Ubuntu, then some games, including TextNet, just don't work at all with it for some reason. That took a while to figure out as well. So I installed it as was told to me on the Debian wiki or whatever, and now it sort of works. Now it works, it seems. So that's another thing. I think there is a deb package for Steam as well. I had a similar problem with Minecraft. Like I play Minecraft sometimes with my daughter, and they have a deb package. Is that the problem? That's a mess. That doesn't work. That actually left my system in some kind of semi-broken state. It wasn't that hard. It's weird. I had to do like apt repair or something. Aptitude is a package manager that you can invoke from the command line, or there's probably also window applications for it, but it's how you install software on a Debian system, basically. But it broke that system or something. It's been fixed anyway. It was just stupid. I don't know. Then they had just had, and it was a bit hidden, they just had normal tarballs, which you can just unzip in a directory. This pisses me off. This is another thing, actually, I think is a big thing about Linux that I don't think is good at all, at all, at all. This sucks. This stupid, well, Windows is doing it now too. All operating systems are doing it now. This stupid thing with installing of software being so, what is the word, non-transparent. It used to be, right, in the 90s, I know, but you just go somewhere, you download the zip file maybe, you unzip it to a folder and you run it from there. You put it where you want, the configuration files, the save file, it's all there in that same directory where you unzipped it, wherever you want, on your desktop, in your program file, wherever the fuck you want, that's where it is, and you run, and the executable is in there. There's no other fucking thing. There's no registry, no weird files all over the place getting tweaked and changed. Nothing. And a lot is still like that, and as it turned out, Minecraft was like that. I don't know, did I show you this on this one? Because one very handy. Now let me get back to my original point first. That kind of sucks on Linux. Because in Windows, at least, there's still some idea of that. You know, if you download like this thing, SFXR, if you know what that is, you can get it from the. It's for making little sounds. Oh yeah, just let me just show you whatever. Here, it looks different on Windows. Sorry, I didn't know it was going to be that loud. But you can make little sounds like that on it, and you can change. You know, it's called MIDI, and you know, I make sound effects with that. So anyway, that's an app. You can just download the little zip or whatever, unzip it somewhere and run it from there. That kind of way. What was wrong with that? Probably now people are gonna go, yeah, 10,000 fucking things, but I don't think this is serving the user of the computer at all to make it so opaque. Is that the word? No, it's not opaque. It's anyway not transparent and not clear what has been changed or where things go. And I can't control often where it goes. I hate that. So, what was I going to say about it? Sure, let me pause and get my mind together. Oh yeah, right. So a nice thing though is Minecraft turned out not to be this way. I just installed it all in one folder, nothing was touched. And the reason I know that is this is what I wanted to show you. Maybe if you don't know, it's a nice tip. I don't think I said that already this interview, did I? It's this thing, find. It's a real good command on Linux. And you can very easily see what was recently changed. You just, let's say you're interested, I'm just going to do my home directory now, which is... the tilde is a shortcut for that. So the path to the directory you want to look in, and then just dash -min, which is minutes, and -10. This will show all files touched or added in the last, in the last 10 minutes. Here, it just searches, and as you can see, and you can immediately see what processes are doing in a way as well. Like Mozilla, you see, constantly, what the fuck is doomed? Cache to doomed entries. It's busy, Mozilla. I have my browser open here, like with a couple of tabs, and even in the last 10 minutes I wasn't touching this. I think, did I? Maybe I did, but you can see it's touching stuff. There been installation, something going on there. Oh, that's Steam doing something. I don't know. What's this? Oh, that's the file I'm recording now. That's my video that I'm now recording. Mozilla local state wire plumber, Steam properties, genome shell. But anyway, very nice command. This I showed here again. Find. You can do it over your whole system, of course, if you use / the root directory. And so if you install something through a deb package or whatever, or some installer file, and you wondered what was all touched and added, then you can use this command and very easily find out. It's kind of reassuring, because sometimes you can see all it did was create a directory in your home directory and everything's under there. So why it needs to be in a fucking installer in the first place, I don't know. Just have the tarball or something, or a zip file, Anyway, I have a big problem with that crap. So that's something that's in Linux. More of a problem, I feel, because you have to do everything through, or you're kind of through package managers. There's all these libraries that need to be kept up to date with each other or in sync, because else things break. You can have multiple of the same libraries, and like with symlinks, and it's all kind of wiry like that. Probably like that too in Windows, but you sort of don't notice it. So you don't really notice it here either. To be honest, what's nice is, I don't get any update, although I had to turn that off even in Debian, like update notifications. One time recently I got stressed about something wasn't working, and I wanted to reboot the system, and I rebooted, and it said, yeah, install new updates, and I hadn't asked for updates or anything, and I could unchecked the checkbox to not install the updates during the reboot, which is good. So that wasn't as bad as Windows, where it would just, you sit there with that blue screen. Hi, I'm updating right now. Bullshit. While you're stressed out about some other thing, you're only rebooting, dealing with some other problem, right? You don't want to deal with an update right now. So here I could uncheck it at least, but it was still there. But I could turn that off. I think I've turned off something. Where was this? I think it was in GNOME settings. I'll just show you. Sure, we're having fun here. You know what I mean? I don't know. Giving you a flavor of what it is like to be on Linux. About, I think it was here somewhere. Not system details. About settings? No, I can't scroll down. Not this. Software updates. It's there. Jesus. Oh, it's this thing again. And then here. Preferences, I think. Here. This was still on automatic for me. So that's how it is by default. Although it didn't really. It notifies me that there is updates. And that's also weird. Like the software thing. This. Oh, that is this. Software Center or whatever. Some packages are installed through this, have been installed. When I installed the system, it said, you know, what do you want? Oh yeah, give me this and this, and installed it through the Software Center. So this sometimes gives a notification that stuff can be updated. I don't really want that. Yeah, automatic update notification. I turned it off. I think that was yesterday or day before. Anyway, you can turn that off. So I think, well, I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't had that set like that long enough to be sure that actually works. But here, let me show you again where it is, in case you're on Debian and I don't know. You want that settings? Oh, I do it too fast, don't I? Maybe you're now going, I saw it already. Jesus Christ, move on. Settings, I typed in here, these settings. Well, and then system at the bottom of this thing on the left, and then software updates. When you install it by default anyway, you'll have this icon on your dash. I just removed the Software Center icon because I hate it. Maybe I can go in there, but I don't dare to click that in case it starts updating or some shit. Here, preferences, and then here you can turn shit off. Right? Right. Anyway, what I was gonna say is, once that's gone, it's very nice. All you have to do is like sudo apt update. Oh. Right, get me in my I needed to give like get admin privileges to do that. And it tells you, in this case, all packages are up to date. If it wasn't, you run sudo apt upgrade. That's it. And you can do that whenever you want, you know, it's not forced on you or anything. Even with those notifications and everything, nothing was ever automatically installed for me. Just that one time when I restarted, it said, do you want to install them now? And I could uncheck the checkbox. So it's a lot better than Windows anyway, even with the defaults. And when you turn those notifications off, you never ever get bothered, I think. So that's great. So yeah, that app thing, that's the package manager. So you can search like sudo apt search. Let's search for Vim, for example. Oh, sudo. No, not sudo. Sudo. Shows all kinds of packages with the word Vim in it, maybe. Although this seems to just... Oh, here it says Vim. Somewhere probably in the description it says the word Vim or whatever. I thought that was a bit better. Can I do it like this? Or Vim star? That would be worse, no? Don't know why it's showing these. You also have this sudo apt list. Let's see what I have installed. Oh, here, that's kind of better. Maybe search is too broad. This is mostly things with Vim in the name. And you can then do... Sorry, this is a bit messy. I'm just learning this stuff myself, you see. List, then installed star vim star. There's anything with Vim installed in the word. Yeah, that's Vim common, Vim runtime, Vim tiny, and Vim. That's what I've installed, you see. You can easily, well, the way I had to go about it doesn't look so easy, Mosgrom. Looks like you don't quite know yourself. That's true, but once you do know, it's very easy. Right. But yeah. So that's the update bit. Anything else? So did I go over this? So yeah, I think I might have said this. I already used nearly only free software, so I had no problem going over. You know, GIMP, Inkscape. Yeah, I think I said this already in this video. So maybe for you that's different, because you have all kinds of software that you're using that's maybe not free software, and it'll be hard to move to Linux. I don't know. I had like a video editor. I haven't really looked for a replacement for that yet that I used. I didn't use it that much though, so. Eclipse is kind of a little bit of a nightmare. I mean, this isn't, probably nobody uses this, because it's just getting worse every update, it seems. Like the IDE is just terrible. All kinds of bugs in it make it real awkward. And then just open a source file here. Used to run just fine. And over time, like the autocomplete and stuff has been all messed up. Show you something stupid, right? I know, maybe you're a developer. Let's see there, what can I use? Like, let's use string s, I don't know, s punt, and I have this. I don't know, anything to lowercase, right? It's stupid to call it there, but make it, I don't know, this then. Right, now if I want to change this, right? Look at this shit. So I want actually something else there, and I start typing. It wants to erase that bit, and in this case that's good, but often that's really fucking annoying. Like when? If I'm in like a conditional or something, contains this. And when is that annoying, Mosgrom? Because now you want that. Anyway, for me, there's a good few times. There's this, often I don't. It wants to erase this bit automatically, and it's driving me fucking nuts. It selects it, and I'm like, don't. Like if I have this. Oh, here, you see this? Like say, here, I have this in the condition right now. If you're a programmer, you know what I'm talking about. But there needs to be something else before it. Like, do I have a boolean here? Hidden. Like say, I don't want I want it to be hidden. If it's hidden as well. No, that's not a good one. No, name needs to contain something as well. Here, there's a name member here, and I go name dot contains. See, now it wants to erase that s with what I typed. That's so fucking annoying, because this happens often. Anyway, going completely off the rails here again, but I just wanted to share that. I did this whole video just to show this. It's not about Linux, about this fucking autocomplete thing in Eclipse is driving. Just the guy who made that. Don't come to my house. I swear to God. Yeah. So there is annoyances, definitely. And as you can probably tell, I'm a guy to get sometimes annoyed. So maybe you won't suffer it as much. My point was, anyway, that it's great to move over. I'm so happy I moved over. It's just all my own stuff now. There's no corporal bullshit. Don't feel controlled. What's this thing that's like... Is that my voice? Why is it doing that? You see that thing sort of going into the distance? That's weird. Sorry, that's probably, it might be loud to you. Anyway, I think this is the end of it then. It's very long. If you're still watching, I'm assuming you enjoyed it, because else why are you doing that? And yeah, so don't forget. Here, let's do this. February 5th, 2026, Taxinaut version 1 comes out. You can do anything to help Taxinaut. Make a video, create a post on something, I don't know, shout it out of your window, anything. That would make me very happy. See you later.